Hello, welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. To our very first story, economist Professor Lord Mensah has urged managers of the economy to consider giving out credible information on the performance of the cedi to curb speculations. According to him, sentiments thrive on information. Therefore, credible information about the cedi will go a long way to address the exchange rate challenges. Speaking to Joy Business, Professor Mensah stated that there must be the deliberate effort to churn out the right information on the overall economy.
Do it, coming out with more information, and then also, getting, the right information to Ghanaians. Because, we are all aware that apart from the, the bottlenecks in our economic fundamentals, the sentiment in the economy also drives, the cedi very well. And, if you hold up uncertainty for a long time, you're going to, see more sentiment, building up, as far as the exchange rate is concerned. So from where I sit, I think it has to do with bridging up information. They should let us know exactly what is happening at the level of management, and then, filtering that into, the system for our consumption. And that is a way to go. Once they keep more information and, a typical, user of the dollar does not get to know exactly what is happening in the economy, you still have people chasing the dollar to keep, themselves safe.
Now, business strategist David Ofosu-Dortey has stated that there is no way the government can resolve the current economic challenges with the monetary policy rate at 29%. Describing the rate as a disincentive to economic growth, he pointed out that the policy rate is contributing to the foreign exchange rate challenges affecting the economy. Speaking at the 2024 Ghana Economic Forum organized by the Business and Financial Times, Mr. Ofosu-Dortey said fiscal policies must complement the monetary policy of the Bank of Ghana to bring down the rate and subsequently reduce interest rate.
The Bank of Ghana in its last MPC meeting left its monetary policy rate unchanged at 29%. This is after the bank considered some factors that had to do with inflation as well as exchange rate pressures. But the business community is still not convinced, and they claim they're struggling. Dr. Ofosu-Dortey speaking indicated that if the monetary policy rate is being kept at 29%, it will continue to affect businesses locally.
The structure of the economy is such that we are already borrowing at more than 20%. If you have that and your power tariff is high, what it simply means that local production is already stifled, and therefore your inflation is caused more by lack of supply. Now, if foreign production is cheaper, it means you will spend more dollars importing things into the country. This is just simple common sense. That is why the FX challenges is always pushing our economy into the problems. We won't solve any problem by increases in monetary policy committee and monetary policy. And more and more people, actually I was happy to hear Deputy Minister of Finance say the same thing just last week. More and more people need to talk about this. We need to look at how we change behavior. If there is one good thing that I remember from the Champon regime, they made a conscious effort to change our consumption pattern. Every regime has its mistakes and its positive sides. And these are some of the things we need to re-engineer. And I think it is important that we think about these things in our deliberations today.
Meanwhile, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wam Kelemeno, also bemoaned the slow growth of industries within the sub-region. He's urging African leaders to expand investments in that space.
I'm also pleased that under the leadership of the African Union, the heads of states, Africa CDC has now mobilized over $1 billion to ensure that in the area of pharmaceuticals production, that we have the capability and the investment that is required to ensure the continent's competitiveness. In 2022, Rwanda, Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa established the first of its kind vaccine manufacturing capability, which will spread across these 4 countries, establishing a truly continental value chain for pharmaceutical production. This is an example of the steps that we need to accelerate in order to ensure the re-engineering of Africa's industrial capability.
The business community is expecting government to work on improving some macro indicators to ensure economic stability. For Joy Business, James Eshen.
The international court hearing the almost $400 million tax charge against Tullow by Ghana Revenue Authority will be given its ruling by November this year. Meanwhile, Tullow Oil is optimistic about the case going their way, insisting it does not owe the taxes put out by the Ghana Revenue Authority. Let's first hear from the Chief Richard Miller, Chief Finance Officer at Tullow, and then the Group Chief of Tullow, Rahul Dier.
Get a result on the Ghana arbitration no later than at some point in November. In terms of the free cash flow guidance, where we're focused on is getting to $1 billion of net debt and 1x gearing, which is essentially the cash flow guidance that we provided is the number to get us to that position. Where we're at today is whether that is the 31st of December 2025 or due to the timings of liftings, whether that's some point in early 2026. We can't quite determine at this stage, but we expect it'll be very much in the near term.
For more, just as a follow-up really on the Ghana branch profits tax arbitration, I'm just wondering, could we anticipate a binary outcome? Either Tullow has nothing to pay or owes, was it $3 million? Or could we end up with a ruling that's somewhere in the middle with a smaller liability due?
Yes, so there's a range of possible outcomes. Obviously, the one that we expect is that we'll be successful, and then nothing will be owed. And then if there is a result where it rules against us, I suppose there's two branches from that. One is that the panel will say we're unsuccessful and rule on a number. That number could be less than the 320, which has originally been claimed, or they could then say that they find against us, but they can't rule on a number, which will then push us into the Ghana court process. But I think, as we previously stated, if we're unsuccessful, we have a number of avenues to continue to explore within the Ghana court process where we'll continue to dispute this claim.
So it's
okay.
End of it. If it's ruled against,
okay, thank you.
If it's ruled against us, then it could take a long time for resolution.
Correct.
Okay, that's clear. And just is there an extent to which this arbitration would be a precedent for your other tax disputes?
Let me take a go at that. So legally, they're all very separate, and. But I think there is and we could all speculate, I think that certainly we believe that a positive outcome in our favor on the branch profits, I think it certainly would reinforce what we and many in the government believe, that there is a better way and an amicable way to resolve the others.
Now, Ghana has been ranked 6th behind Morocco and ahead of its peers like Tunisia and Nigeria in the latest Where to Invest in Africa 2024 report. Ghana represents a substantial market on the continent as it tops among the West African peers in the ranking. More in this report.
Discounting the two highly desirable but tiny islands, Seychelles and Mauritius, Ghana is the 4th most investable country in the model behind Egypt, South Africa and Morocco. With a GDP of $76 billion and a population of some 33.5 million people, Ghana represents a substantial market. Further, Ghana is among the top 10 for urbanization, innovation, political stability, personal freedom and employment. It also ranks favorable on corruption and tops the list of import concentration. Critical to macroeconomic stability is addressing high public debt and inflation, particularly against the backdrop of a 3-year, $3 billion extended credit facility program with the IMF. There are positive signs on the fiscal front. The report said fiscal consolidation is broadly on track with an estimated deficit of 4.6% of GDP at the end of 2023, significantly lower than the 10.7% deficit in 2022. At 15.7% of GDP in 2023, revenues and grants reached the same level as 2022 despite lower oil revenues. By 2027, growth is forecast to benefit from increased gold and oil export as new projects come online. Ghana is followed by Tunisia, Senegal, and Nigeria.
The Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, Kofi Osafo-Maafo, has announced that the organization's commitment to improving the performance of its hotels and enhancing stakeholder benefits. Speaking at the 2024 Operations and Benefits Conference in Elmina, Mr. Osafo-Maafo highlighted the ongoing internal processes aimed at addressing current challenges, noting that SSNIT's investments in the banking and telecom sectors are performing well.
We are going to go back to the drawing board. Okay, we are going to go back to the drawing board and look at ways in which we can improve the performance of the hotels. And I think that we will definitely come out with different ways to look at that. I think the other point that is also worth making is that, again, it's something that our stakeholders took a very keen interest in. And so we are also going to engage them and listen to ideas they have. And I think that we can together come up with a way forward. But internally, we've started the process, and we are going to look at alternatives at improving the performance of the hotels. I think the point to make is that that is not the entirety of our portfolio. I think it's taking away from all the other aspects of SSNIT's business. That is not the entirety of our portfolio. If I can highlight a few, we are a major shareholder in the banking sector. The companies we have invested in there are doing very well. We are a major investor in the telecom sector. Our investments there are doing very well. So there are other parts of our investments which are far larger than what we have in the hotels, which are thriving. So I don't want people to leave with the impression, or stakeholders to leave with the impression that SSNIT is all about the hotels. No. There are other investments that are equally doing well, and we don't want that to detract from the good work that we do.
Fidelity Bank Ghana is set to reward 15 entrepreneurs under the boot camp for green tech entrepreneurs in the agric value chain with 1 million cedis. According to the head of partnership sustainability at Fidelity Bank, Nanaye Ofori-Korea, the support is to help agric entrepreneurs scale up and grow their businesses to contribute to national development.
Fidelity Green Tech Innovation Challenge Program seeks to empower agricultural entrepreneurs. In all, 15 entrepreneurs will be awarded at the ideation, scale-up, and commercialization stages with 60,000 Ghana cedis, 100,000 Ghana cedis, and a 200,000 Ghana cedis grant. In an interview, Head of Partnerships and Sustainability at Fidelity Bank, Nanaya Ofori-Korea, reaffirmed the bank's commitment to driving economic growth through support to critical sectors of the economy.
As a bank, one of our key areas is providing solutions to the problems nationwide, and we see that the agric sector needs some stimulation and some support. So one of the key things for us from the sustainability perspective is to really provide support towards local economic stimulus. Now, as you already know, we have a project called Fidelity Young Entrepreneurs Fund. And that fund really supports entrepreneurs by providing them with financial support and mentoring. But we decided that we would carve out some support specifically for agriculture. So that's why we decided to have this 1 million grant, which will be shared with 15 successful entrepreneurs.
The Director of Implementing Partner, InnoHub, Nelson Amu, added that innovations by agri-tech entrepreneurs will help address challenges in the sector such as post-harvest losses and enhance food security.
If we're looking at food security in Ghana and Africa, we can't keep doing farming and agribusiness the traditional way. There's the need for enhanced technology and innovation that could help really grow what we're doing in that green sector. And so the importance of innovators in the space of food security, in the space of grain and agribusiness cannot be overemphasized. They help make efficiency in farming, and beyond farming, there's also efficiency in post-harvest management and what have you. So there is quite a huge opportunity in the space, and then the gap is being filled by these entrepreneurs. However, there's the need for the support.
Participants of the bootcamp were given trainings to build their capacity and ideas.
Some stakeholders in the agri sector say smallholder farmers are not receiving farm inputs from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. The CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison, has linked the situation to rising costs of staple food as the depreciation of the cedi impact on farm inputs, such as fertilizer and seed. Speaking with Joy Business, Mr. Morrison urged the government to prioritize the supply of inputs to smallholder farmers to boost their yields.
Decrease is as a result of the sustained rainfall in the south. So currently there are new harvests coming in, and as usual, it's a demand and supply ratio up. Don't forget, productivity downstream depends on inputs, seeds, agrochemicals, and fertilizers. This majority, 70% to 80% of this, are all imported. So as far as our cedi continues to depreciate, as against the major currencies where we import these commodities from, like Asia and Europe and in the US, we will continue to have a higher cost of food production. So assuming you used to spend like 2,300 on tomatoes per acre this year, you end up spending about 4,000. And you don't expect the farmer to sell at the time he was still using 2,300 to do the acreage. So obviously you have to sell at a rate where you will be able to reproduce the next season. Now, another thing is also the cost of fuel. The activities of the aggregators are also impacting on the food price buildup of the country. So we need to look at the food basket to see how these derivatives, what interventions that can be brought in place to mitigate the overburdening families that cannot feed 2 or 3 times a day. So those are the interventions that you expect government to do. Now, aside that, majority of the roads are very deplorable, and increasing the cost of post-harvest activities. So on-farm post-harvest losses, then transitioning post-harvest issues, because how we even transport the food is also a major challenge to us.
Away from the agri sector, General Manager in charge of MTN Northern Sector, Ni Adote Mingil, says the introduction of the Ghana card has helped in reducing mobile money fraud by 90%. According to him, the previous years of registering SIM cards with multiple identity cards fueled the activities of fraudulent activities on the Momo platform. He says MTN Ghana has put in place measures to totally eliminate fraud on the MTN Momo platform. There is more in this report by David Opoku, read to you.
The 6-month campaign is to educate the public on online job scam. The company said it will collaborate with law enforcement and other government agencies to report and prosecute individuals who commit fraud in the name of QNet.
The first step we took along these lines when we realized that some entities and businesses have used the QNet brand, we got our lawyers to write to the Registrar General to get a list of these companies and to issued notices to them, because you have to issue notices to anyone who is infringing on your copyright. So we issued notices to them. Some of them pulled it down, some of them changed their names. The others we found who had some form of connection to us, we terminated whatever connections we have with these entities and wrote to them to change their names or bring legal action against them. So that is the step, one step we have taken with that. And then, like I mentioned, stakeholder engagement. It is a fight that we have to fight hand in hand with immigration, the police, national security, EOCO, and all these entities who deal with human trafficking, who deal with fraud and the others.
QNet further indicated that it will establish a compliance hotline on WhatsApp to receive reports of fraudulent activities being conducted in its name.
I think the general public needs to understand how to identify scams. That is where the biggest problem is. There are too many vulnerable people, especially youth, who seem to be desperate for some sort of get-rich-quick scheme. QNet does not offer get-rich-quick schemes. In fact, if there is any opportunity, QNet or otherwise, if somebody is trying to convince you that you don't have to put in a lot of effort and you just have to pay some money and you'll get great returns,
Our senior legal counsel at QNet, Theodosia Quarti, has urged the public to verify information quickly before signing up onto any online job platform. She says this is pertinent in protecting individuals from the activities of fraudsters. Madam Quarti spoke to Joy Business at the launch of QNet anti-scam campaign to fight fraud, and that was the story we just played to you. Now let's touch on some other stories we've lined up for you this very moment. The northern sector of MTN, Adotebingo, says the introduction of the Ghana card has helped in reducing mobile money fraud by 90%. We can take more in this report. I apologize for that technical hitch there. But Head of Special Projects and Investor Relations at GCB Bank, Mr. George Fauche, has some useful nuggets for the youth of today on discovering new business trends at the Entrepreneur in You campus store. Enjoy.
I remember in secondary school, the capital of Nigeria was changed from Lagos to Abuja. No. And we were going to write a test. It was geography there. And so we got the hint that that question was going to be part of the question. So, what is the new capital of Nigeria? Charlie, I put the whole school over the new. Who people teach I don't go beside? Now I don't go beside. Yes, I don't go beside. I put that nobody knew. Today, everything you need and want is on your phone. Everything, how to even sweet talk a beautiful lady. It is there. Hey, the lady sitting here, if I want to say, excuse me, or go Google not your making call. Look, guys, the access to information. In fact, I may know you have information. Library. This was the library. I don't know what else is the library. Law of contract. If you archaeology is saying for not that question. I don't remember that no page so what? Not it means the whole school. The whole school, nobody has access to that book. Today the thing is there. ChatGPT, you ask, hey Charlie, ask that time the thing is coming. Guys, we have, and that is the opportunity I'm talking about. New business trends. Some of it you copy. You know when you share assignments, you copy, you what is happening in Kenya? Momo, didn't it come from Kenya? In person, Momo, Ghana, MTN, it started in Kenya. What you are thinking about, somebody in India is thinking about the same thing. Somebody in Kenya, have you gone to check new business trend for young people? Have you ever done that thing before? Beyonce, you know, in their song, this something you know.
Brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship and supported by GCB Bank, your bank for life.
All right, so let's now touch on the story. General Manager in charge of MTN Northern Sector, Ni Adotemingo, says the introduction of the Ghana card has helped in reducing mobile money fraud by 90%.
MTN Mobile Money Services was introduced in Ghana 15 years ago and has been a major turning point in digital financial transactions. Speaking at an event to commemorate 15 years of MTN Momo, the General Manager of MTN Northern Sector, Ni Adote Mingle, said the introduction of the Ghana card has been beneficial in reducing Momo fraud. He said the company has put measures in place to eliminate such fraudulent activities.
So today MTN Momo is 15 years, and at MTN we celebrate major milestones, and it's the reason we are here today. It's been a long journey, where which started with us having a very low percentage of banked people, and so this was a journey to ensure most Ghanaians were financially included in the financial sector. So we used to have more than 5 IDs, and it was a hassle, trying to identify people. It was also easier for people to clone people's IDs. Today, it's only the Ghana card. It's not so easy for you to attempt to clone the Ghana card. So it has reduced the incidence of fraud significantly. Obviously, there are some miscreants in the country. There are some miscreants who would still try to do some bad things. But largely, the Ghana card has come to help reduce the incidence of fraud.
However, the Brno Regional Chairman for Mobile Money Agents Association, Michael Apia Boateng, said the introduction of e-levy has negatively affected the mobile money business.
Well, with the e-levy, I think just recently, Bank of Ghana data that they released, they told that they said we had the transaction have reduced and other things, and currently agents are also affected. It's affecting agents a lot. Nowadays, people don't withdraw cash, especially transferring money from their personal account. They don't come as at first they used to do, because whilst you come to the agent and there will be charges, he or she will prefer depositing in the bank. So now it has reduced our commission too.
David Opoku's report for Joy News.
Much for being part of Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Prime Sports is next with Daniel Kranting. Do enjoy.